Hey, I'm super excited this. If you're a fitness professional, health professional, maybe you're a fitness entrepreneur, if you're an online coach, even a doctor or nutritionist, I'm excited to talk about ketones in the future, what they are, how they work, and should you even care about them? And if you're at a place right now where you don't know a lot about them, as a fitness professional, I would tell you I'm concerned. Don't get shocked, but I am concerned. You should know. I'm going to explain a little bit more about what they are. If you're somebody that is an entrepreneur side of fitness, you want to see the future of fitness, you should really be aware of what's going on. How many things in your fitness career have you missed the boat of? I remember in 1993, creatine came to the market, and I didn't start drinking until 99. Right, so 6 years before I had it, and then even then, nobody really talked about it. Now it's like most mainstream supplement in fitness, and now we have old people taking it. We have athletes taking it. We have moms and dads across the world taking it. We know it works for the brain. It's like crazy, right? But I missed that boat. I didn't get any financial gain off of creatine. I was like, oh, what? I was missing it, and I was part of that whole movement. But so for myself, I've been in the fitness and health and fitness industry for over 2 decades. I got my first weight set when I was 8 years old. I was super blessed. I got to study under Charles Poliquin. I'm a PICP coach, a biosignature practitioner. I got to do muscle activation techniques with Greg Roskoff. I was a master student in his program. I've worked with world-class athletes. I've worked with Olympic athletes, professional athletes. You name it, I probably have worked with it. Tour de France riders. I mean, the most elite endurance athletes, strength power man, bodybuilders. And so, but the reality is, majority of my people I worked with were everyday moms and dads, CEOs of companies, just everyday people. That's how you make most of your money. It's not with the top of the top. It's usually with the masses. And so, if you're a fitness professional, I want to talk a little bit about ketones, why they matter, and why you should care about them. Okay. Once again, if you're kind of a naysayer sitting like this, stop it. Open up your mind to the future, to science. Everything I'm going to say, you can back up with scientific evidence. You can go look it up. You can research it at major universities. This isn't like a Google page that somebody just posted. Like, I'm talking about true research by Department of Defense, NASA. I'm talking about the top institutes in the world of human performance and research. Like, you can look it all up. Everything's there. Ketones are a key to this movement. They are the healthiest product that we'll ever see in our lifetime. And so if you're a fitness professional, you should care a lot about that. Now, if you don't know anything about ketosis, go back to biology. I'm just kidding. If you don't know anything about ketosis, it's really simple. Prior to our product being available where you could drink bioidentical ketones, the only other ways you could get into a state of ketosis was through starvation or a ketogenic or a very low carb diet. And what happens is your body then metabolizes your fat stores and it converts into an energy called ketones. There's 3 forms. And that's how your body and your brain live and survive. Okay. But what we didn't know many years ago is your brain becomes more optimal. Your body actually works at a higher level. Now, can we combine ketones and carbohydrates? Absolutely. I do it with my athletes all the time. And it's a great fuel because glucose can be an accelerator. Ketones are think of it as diesel fuel. It's the long burning, awesome fuel. But yet, even on that long burning, awesome fuel, I'm seeing people PR overnight. Pretty cool. I'm going to break all those down and why that happens. Our product was invented originally for the Navy SEALs, the original patent, for their brain to work better. Under pressure, it's a longer story. You can look up that research too. We have the first ever and the only bioidentical pure therapeutic ketone supplement that puts you in a state of ketosis at a therapeutic level within an hour. Most likely less than that. That means 0.5 millimole to 1.5. You don't have to become a scientist to understand this. Ketones themselves have an extraordinary amount of benefits. But think about this. Our ancestors have lived in this state majority of our history. So there's a reason it has a lot of benefits, right? Think about our ancestors. If their leg was broken, they need to heal fast, recover fast to survive, right? When they don't have food, if they just sat there and did nothing because they're starving, they would die as a species. No, when you don't have food, you produce a lot of ketones and your body can go out and hunt and thrive and it's super awesome. So you get to experience that without starving. We can combine it with all of our modern day technology and carbohydrates if done properly. Okay, so can ketones help somebody PR and how would that work? Personal record. I've seen it many times. I've seen World Strongmen PR. I've seen CrossFitters PR, and I've seen marathoners. I got a guy that he did his PR. He rode across America, and he beat his personal record by a whole day. Like by one whole day. I work with a lot of people that do century races, 100-mile races, Tour de France riders. I've seen them win the Tour de France multiple times now. I wrote the first protocol for that in 2016. So it was a long process, so it took a while to write that one out. But Ketones can help PR. Why is a few things. One, and you're going to see probably a little bit more predominantly on the aerobic side than the anaerobic side. Now, what do we see in the anaerobic side? I'll explain in a second. So ketones increase ATP production up to 29%. Heart efficiency, 28%. We see muscle preservation. That's more of a long-term benefit. VO2 max goes up when you're in a state of ketosis. I'm talking about supplementing ketones. I'm not talking about the diet. I'm talking about supplementing ketones. We also see mental clarity and focus go up. Why do I say that? Well, if you're a high-level athlete and you're trying to PR, this thing drives a lot. If you're not in the right headspace and you can be more focused on what you're doing, you're going to do better 100% of the time, and you do it safer, which is even really cool. So those are the main drivers for why we see people PR with ketones. But I think when you look at, and that's more aerobic driven, anaerobically, we're still seeing it, strongman, and maybe it's the focus, maybe it's the ATP production, and that has to do with a lot of timing in there of when we're measuring this, and if they're already overtrained coming into it, all that good stuff. But we also see the recovery aspect of ketones. So ketones are vital for recovery, and that's another reason why you would see PR. If you're sleeping better, you protect muscle loss. Ketones do both of these. Helps balance out neurotransmitters and stress hormones. So all the factors that help our body recover faster. There's also potentially an anti-inflammatory benefit of ketones. And some of you might argue, well, I need that inflammation so I can heal faster, heal and grow muscle. We still see it in bodybuilders. They still heal and grow muscles. It's just that they're able to do it again more often. I worked with one of the top bodybuilders in the world, and he couldn't do leg day. He only did leg day every 14 days. Because his body is older, his body took that long to recover. Well, he introduced ketones, he was able to do leg days every 6 days. So he was able to get more out of his legs because he could recover faster, okay? So that was a long-term way to PR on that. So it's really exciting stuff. And that's just the scratch of the surface of what all ketones do, but just from a performance side of it, that's pretty cool. All right, a couple more questions. Have you heard of oral ketones that won't put you in a state of ketosis? Well, if they don't have ketones in it, it's not going to work. So there's things out there that say keto that don't have anything in it. They're just low carb. They don't have any ketones in it. Well, that's not going to work for you. You're never going to get into ketosis that way unless you're doing a low carb ketogenic diet, which can take up to 6 weeks, well formulated to get therapeutic level of ketones. So I'm not going to speak to those. If you're drinking ketones and you're saying, well, that's not being in ketosis, it's semantics. It actually does mean you're in ketosis. So the definition of being in ketosis is elevated blood levels of ketones. So our product gives you elevated blood levels of ketones. So you're in ketosis. And they're like, well, you know what I mean. I'm like, what you mean is this is not the ketogenic diet. I go, yes, it's not the ketogenic diet. That's what makes it so special. You can have ketones and glucose together, dual fuel, first time ever, pretty awesome. And with you athletes, I'm going to tell you, it's a game changer for the right athlete to use them both. In the right circumstance and situation. Okay, so if you're doing the ketogenic diet, you're endogenously producing ketones, meaning you're using your fat as a fuel source in a ketogenic state to produce beta hydroxybutyrate and other ketones, right? If you're not in a ketogenic state, or if you are, you can exogenously drink ketones outside the body and elevate your ketone levels. Either way, you're in ketosis, okay? You're just getting there a different way. You know, you can either walk to New York from LA or you can fly an airplane. You're in LA. I don't care how you got there, but one was fast and one was slow. Diet slow, ketones fast. Cool? Navy SEALs did not want to do the ketogenic diet. They wanted to be in ketosis. They drink ketones. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I just wanted to make sure I get that. These science guys, sometimes they have a hard time wrestling with that. All right. Have you heard anything about peptide supplementations? And not in the ketogenic space. I haven't heard of. There may be some stuff out there. I'm not caught up on that one yet. If there is, I will probably get to hear about it and learn about it very quickly. I think peptides are exciting. There's a lot of new stuff out there. There's a lot of uncertainty out there too. I would just tell people, if you're going to go down that rabbit hole, get the smartest people to work with. I would make sure that they probably are an MD behind their name, or extremely well knowledge in that. And a lot of them have to prescribe it anyway, so they need to be an MD. But I would suggest that because it's the wild west right now, and the research is not always that clear on that whole process. So I would that's my verbiage. But relative to the ketogenic space, I don't know anything out there relative to the peptides and elevating ketone levels. Okay. All right. How do ketones truly help the body optimize and perform better? And I think this is really about wellness first. If you're not working with the most efficient metabolic person, and metabolically efficiency is super important to understand. Most people, when they eat food, their food isn't being broken down efficiently and to give them energy, and they're not uptaking the energy properly in the cell. Okay, could be pre-diabetic, it could be insulin resistance, all this stuff, but it could just be they're not efficient. Their body is just sluggish and slow. You give a kid food, they get energized. You give an adult food, they don't. You give me food, I get energized. Why? Because I'm super efficient. I wasn't always that way. I used to be really sick, so it's not like I'm just special. I had to make myself that way and defy aging, right? So using ketones helps you become metabolically more efficient. So if your clients right now is metabolically inefficient, meaning you're putting them on a diet, low calorie diet to lose weight, let's just say hypothetically, or the diet isn't perfect for them. Well, what if they're not converting energy to fuel, but you're telling them to go work out, you're telling them to be disciplined, be strong, sleep better? Well, no, they can't. That's not going to work. It's why they fail. And you keep saying you're not disciplined. Oh, it was that glass of wine. Bullshit. It's that little chocolate. Bullshit. That's not the reason why they're not successful. They're not efficient at metabolizing energy. Therefore, they're ultimately not efficient at metabolizing body fat. Well, and if that happens, they're going to quit. They're going to fail. If you want long-lasting, sustainable clients, help them become metabolically efficient. And you do that through drinking ketones, first thing. There's no better way to do that. And then exercise and a better diet is going to support the ketones to even work better. And so why does that work? Is because ketones uptake without insulin, they don't need to be super healthy to get ketones and produce energy. So they start moving more. You give somebody ketones, they'll do more steps every day, no matter what you tell them. They'll have a better workout. They're going to recover faster. They're going to sleep better. They're going to crave less carbs and sugars. So that's the everyday person. The athlete, it's mostly about recovery. You're going to see an increase in performance, 1% to maybe even 10%, depends on the athlete. But the biggest benefit they're going to see is they're going to recover so they can train at a high level longer and they can stay longer in their career. You look at everybody training in their 40s or high level athletes in their 40s, there's something very similar about all of them, and it's their diet and lifestyle. And ketones are a part of all that. So it's super efficient at helping longevity of athletes, quality of their life, and performing at a high level. So you want to be ahead of the game, not behind the game on that, if you're a fitness professional or a health professional or even a medical professional. All right. Do ketones help with mental stability and dealing with mental health? And 100%. You can look it up with the research on this. It's actually something I'm super passionate about. My dad took his life when I was 20. I had to work through a lot of stuff with that, but of course he had a lot of problems. And it's a tough world to be in when you're exposed to that, and most people are exposed to that. So first off, ketones. I want you to look up a Dr. Brett Scher. He's a good friend of mine. He is world renowned on this, and he talks about metabolic therapy or ketogenic therapies for mental disorders for all ages. And it's really special. With the project he's working on is needs to be louder, it needs to be bigger, and it's going to. But we're at the cutting edge of this. But the science is concrete. The research goes back to 1940s, 1950s. On mental health and ketones. Unbelievable research out there. So go Google that, look it all up. But how does our product relevant to that? Well, it helps with neurotransmitter balance, why the Navy SEALs wanted it. It helps with reducing stress, helps with energy. Think about if somebody's dealing with mental health, they're usually not a picture of health. So if they're not improving energy efficiency, when the brain gets older, it starts to gap and it uptakes energy less efficient. And so the brain slows down. Memory, this familiar memory loss, poor memory. All these things are a problem that people are dealing with. Well, then you have a mood problem. We have stresses. I get pissed at my wife sometimes. It's tough. But if I had all those other things and her and I are not in a good place, you can see how my mood would be way, way worse, right? I've had surgeries dealing with pain. Pain's a trigger. So what if we could have better mental efficiency, meaning just health to the brain, more movement. Movement is really important for mental health. What if we had more metabolic efficiency and you're getting energy properly, and then you could deal with these problems? And I highly recommend people dealing with mental problems work with a therapist. I do all the time. Every couple of weeks or every month I see a therapist. Why? Because I want to be better, and they can help me be better. I also work on meditation and all those other things, but none of them work very well without me feeling great physically. So you got to work on the inside and the outside and the emotional and maybe even the spiritual side all as one if you really want to see people get better on mental side of it, rather than just the talking or the drug. Sometimes the drug's necessary and the talking is usually necessary. So hope that helps with that. Ketones are really important for that side. How should trainers or personal trainers approach the business of offering ketones to their client? This is a great question, and I could probably talk for hours on this one, but trainers notoriously suck at sales, and they have a big heart. They want to help everybody, but they typically don't help themselves. They're usually financially not living a free life. They usually can't go on vacation and actually enjoy themselves because they spend too much money. I know because I lived that. They can't get hurt. They can't get sick. They have very poor retirements. And this is because they're not really business-focused people. And I get it. I love that about trainers and fitness professionals because you have a big heart, you want to help everybody. The problem is you're not helping yourself enough. So I tell a lot of fitness professionals, you got to start looking at marketing, and as much time as you put into learning to be a better trainer, looking to be a better marketer, or hire somebody to market for you. Because there's always ups and downs in the industry. I went through '08. I was out of COVID. I was prepared for COVID. I got to see the crash of '08 and what it did. I almost lost my house. Lost a lot of stuff because I wasn't prepared properly for it all. But what do you say to your clients? What I said to all my clients is this. I go, and after about 9 months of doing this, I actually folded my entire practice and this is all I do. I was very blessed for that to happen that way. It wasn't my intentions. I never considered it, but this is just what happened. But what I told my clients, I go, listen, there's nothing I can do for you that's better than this product. Doesn't exist. And listen, I am very skilled. I'm one of maybe 2 people in the world that have my background. I'm extremely diverse. I had an unbelievable clientele. I felt like I was at the top of my game, and there is nothing I could do that was better than ketones for my clients. And I go, listen, it's just wrong for me to charge you to see me when I know you should drink this. So I said, listen, I need you to drink this every day. And I said, if you have to stop seeing me or reduce a session with me, that's what we should do. Because this is too important for you not to. And I know that for a fact. I believed it then. I believe it more now as I know more of the science than I even did then. All my clients 10 years later still drink this. So I make some money off them. Could I have retired off my clients drinking ketones? No. I had to do more than that. I had to build a team and everything else. But that's what I did. And I can't say it any better way than that. I do encourage trainers, you have to learn how to become, if you're recommending things, you should be getting profit from it. You got at least some things, supplements or a food program or something. But this is the number one health supplement in the world. You should be promoting it. You don't have to be the world-class expert on it. We have a lot of doctors and researchers, or you can even refer to me. I can do a lot of the education for you as you get informed, but every one of your clients needs this. I don't care where they're at in their walk of life. They need this. This will change everything for them, and there's no reason you shouldn't profit from it. And if you want to do more than that and become a team builder like myself, or whoever invited you to watch this video, talk about that too, because there's even a bigger opportunity, and you don't have to quit your job to do it. You can do it on the side and make some additional income and help a lot more people. My goal is to help 1 million people change their life. I'm almost there. 1 million. I couldn't do that in the gym. I can do it this way, and that's what I'm so passionate about. So I hope that answered all your questions, y'all. If you're a fitness professional, don't sleep on this. I promise you'll look back in years, like I'm looking back at creatine going, I knew about that a long time ago. True story. I was introduced to creatine very early on, and the opportunity, I didn't do anything about it, and I watched that thing get bigger. It does billions and billions and billions of dollars a year, and it's a simple project. Ketones is way bigger than that ever be, but that's how. I don't want you to sleep on it because your ego's in the way. You think you know all about it already, and I promise you, if you know all about ketones, you'd already be all in on them because they're that special, and the science is concrete. You can't deny it. It's all there. Later.